Okay, so welcome to all. Hope you're. I hope you're in an air-conditioned environment, except for Meryl. She's sitting outside. So, I'm Doug Rux. I'm the Community Development Director for the City of Newberg, and so welcome everyone to the Newberg Urban Area Management Commission. So, welcome, commissioners. It has been a long time since you have met, well over a decade. But in coordination with Stephanie and Ken, we talked about it would be good as we've got some things that are coming forward that would require the new MAC consideration of things, that we start with at least an orientation because it has been so long and members are all new. So if you don't mind, since we do not have a chair or vice chair yet, I will just kind of call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock p.m. And then I will have my staff go ahead and take roll call. Bobbie, you want to do that, or does Sue want to?
I'm ready. Rick Rogers.
Present.
Mary Starrett. She's said yes.
Yes.
Jeff Musil.
Present.
Alan Halstead.
Here.
Kit Johnston. And
I'm here.
thank you. Meryl Kunkel.
Present.
Okay, thank you all. We do not have any minutes because the last time this commission actually met was back in 2010, and I couldn't find the minutes from 2010. Not sure exactly.
Would they call them hours at this point?
Yep. So I will continue to try to locate those, but I was unsuccessful in my archival research to find those. The next item on the agenda is just communications from anybody who's in the audience. And so, Sue, do we have anybody in Zoom world that may have identified?
We have one attendee, Matthew Robinson from Dowell.
Okay, they are just watching tonight.
Okay, so no, I have not received any requests for public comment.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So next up on your agenda is, I thought we'd go through some introductions so that everybody can get familiar with one another. So with that, I'm just looking at my screen, and so it's a random order. So Meryl, would you like to start off?
Thanks, Doug. I would love to. Hey everyone, my name is Meryl Kunkel. I am a Newberg resident and mom here in town. Active in sustainability groups in the community, and I am very glad to be here. Anything else, Doug?
That's it.
Okay.
Oh, well, I guess one thing is you are the Newberg citizen representative on this commission.
There we go. Thank you.
Jeff?
Good evening, Jeff Musil, and I would be the Planning Commission representative and a Newberg resident for 15 years now. And and when I'm not doing this, I do taxes. I have a tax office, but interested to see what's going to happen and what we're going to learn and what we're going to do.
Good. Thank you, Jeff. Alan?
My name's Alan Halstead. I started out on the Newberg Planning Commission probably back in the mid-70s. Newberg City Council, ran for a couple of other offices and lost. Been on the Yamhill County Planning Commission since I think the mid-90s. I'm one of the original members of NewMac when it was originally founded back, I don't know when. Other than that, I'm just here doing my thing.
Thank you, Alan. Kit?
I'm Kit Johnston, farmer in Dayton, and just recently joined the Yamhill County Planning Commission.
Okay. Rick?
I'm Newberg Mayor Rick Rogers, and I've actually been on this commission for years and never met. So here we are. We are for that. So, and otherwise been a Newberg resident for 22 years, I think now. So anyway, it's good to see you all. Thank you for your time.
Mary?
Thank you, and apologies because I might lose you. I've got internet issues, so any moments I get that I'm online are amazing. My name is Mary Starrett. I'm the Yamhill County Commissioner, and this was also in my portfolio of liaison duties. And it was never something that anyone ever knew what it was or what it did because it didn't meet. It was originally formed in 1979, and we all just pretty much passed this liaison duty around without ever meeting. So I do appreciate the opportunity to do this. Thank everybody for getting together tonight. And also I am a rural Newberg resident and have been for 30 years. So thank you.
Stephanie?
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Stephanie Armstrong. I am the senior planner with Yamhill County, and I'll be the staff representative for Yamhill County.
Okay. Bobbie?
I'm Bobbie Morgan. I work in the Community Development Department. I'm an office assistant, and I will be taking minutes.
And last but not least, Sue.
Hi, I'm Sue Ryan. I'm the city recorder for Newberg, and I'm your Zoom host for the evening. So if for some reason you lose connection and need to join back, I'll promote you and put you back on the screen.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. So welcome. So some new faces. Alan and Kit, I have not met before, but everybody else I have met. So the next up on your agenda this evening is we need to elect a chair and a vice chair for this particular commission. So I would open it up to nominations for the chair position. Don't everybody jump at once.
I would like to make a nomination. I'd like to nominate Jeff Musil for chair.
Second.
So we had a nomination from Merrill for Jeff and a second from Alan, if I caught that correctly, as my screen lights up. Any discussion? Hearing none.
Congratulations.
Bobbie, can we don't need to do a roll call vote for this procedural issue. So all those in favor say aye.
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 Then next up,
I would like to nominate,
go ahead, Mary.
I'm sorry, I jumped the gun, Doug. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna open it up for nominations for the vice chair. So go for it.
I would like to nominate Mr. Kit Johnston for vice chair.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. So with that, my perfunctory procedural process has stopped. Jeff, you are now in charge.
Well, thank you, Mr. Interim Chair. We're just going to, I assume, defer to staff, or we're just going and speak about what we're going to go into and next steps forward. Is that right, Doug?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
So the next item up on our agenda tonight is just to talk about our bylaws. So as Commissioner Starrett had mentioned, NUMAC was created in 1979. So this is back at the beginning of Oregon's land use system. So Senate Bill 100, counties and cities were going through their process. There were intergovernmental agreements entered into between the cities and counties. And so that was done, brought forward before the Planning Commission, should say the City Council and the Yamhill County Board of Commissioners back then. Alan probably remembers all of this. And it created an intergovernmental agreement for the provision of providing services for lands that were outside of the city limits, but within the urban growth boundary, for lands that are outside of the urban growth boundary, within the area of influence. So these bylaws were created actually in 1980, and they were ratified by both the Yamhill County Board of Commissioners and the Newberg City Council. So the purpose of all this is really, you function a lot like a planning commission. So most people here have had some experience, or you've had experience working on different ad hoc committees that have led to recommendations that have gone to planning commissions and to elected bodies. But the real purpose here was to deal with urban growth boundaries. And so there have been a variety of NUMAC meetings that have occurred over the years. There was a provision in the bylaws that basically outlined the particular membership. And so that was in your packet this evening. And so that's why we have Commissioner Sterrett. That's where we have the mayor or a council person. The Newberg City Council chose the mayor, or I think the mayor offered to be on this particular commission. The Newberg City Council appointed Jeff Musil from our planning commission to be a representative. And then of course, Yamhill County had to do that similar process. And so Stephanie had to coordinate through that. And so the Yamhill County Planning Commission representative. And then there was the member of the Newberg Dundee PAC designated by the county board. And I'm not sure if Alan or Kit is representing that particular position, but the information I got back from the county through Stephanie is that one of the two of you is filling that particular role. Then Meryl Kunkel is filling our Citizens Committee position. We actually technically don't have a Citizen Involvement Advisory Committee anymore. We did back in 1980, but here in 2021, we don't have that, but the council made that particular appointment. There are alternates to some of the positions. I know for the city of Newberg, we've identified alternates. And for that, for Mayor Rogers on this commission, we've identified Denise Bacon on the Newberg City Council to do that. And our alternate for Jeff Musil is Chris Wright, and she's also a planning commission member. On my roster, I don't have any alternates for any of the particular county positions. So as we move forward and particular cases may come forward, if a member who's been appointed and has an alternate position, we have a requirement in the bylaws is that the primary position has to notify the alternate to be able to attend a particular meeting, and they will be there for that particular meeting. We have a member at large position, and we will get to that later in the agenda, but that is a Newberg area, and I use that broadly, kind of, it could be within the city, it could be generally kind of within a mile. I'm using that arbitrarily because that's our area of influence. But that is a member at large position, and that position does not have an alternate seat. Like with many particular bodies that are appointed, there are rules about attendance at meetings, and in your bylaws, it indicates that if a member misses 2 consecutive meetings, that they can be excused or essentially dismissed from this particular commission, and then we'd have to go through the process of refilling that particular seat. The member at large position serves for 3 years. The rest of you, as I think Mayor Rogers had indicated, is like he was on this commission, but they never met. And as Commissioner Sterrett had indicated, she's got this in her portfolio, but we've never met. So those positions, serve continuously unless modified or altered by the governing body of the 2 different organizations. The next piece of your bylaws deals with kind of your duties and responsibilities. And so again, we're talking about, primarily urban growth boundary expansions. I think it is important to note that this commission, over its existence, has reviewed on 3 different occasions urban reserve area applications. And so that was in 2006 and then 2 of them in 2007. In your bylaws, it lays out a litany of things that we need to consider, but we got to follow LCDC. We got, statewide planning goals that need to be adhered to. We look at issues about housing and employment on particular cases, economic provisions, the orderly aspect of that, efficiency of land uses, environmental, energy, economic, social consequences, and so forth. And so these kinds of things are actually in both the county and the city's comprehensive plans. Looking at retention of agricultural lands. And there, it's very specific in the bylaws talking about, class 1 being the highest priority for retention and class 6 as the lowest priority when considering these urban growth boundary expansions. Compatibility issues. And then of course, we also need to look again back at the Yamhill County Comprehensive Plan and the Newberg Comprehensive Plan as we go through evaluation on cases that come before you. The next piece in your articles is dealing with organization. And so we've already dealt with the election of the chair and the vice chair. So thank you all for taking care of that. The city in this case will act as the recording secretary. So it actually says the director, the planning director, but we don't have a planning director anymore in Newberg. We have a community development director. And so we do that. And so Bobbie Morgan is here and she's being the minute taker for all of this. And so we will have minutes at your next meeting that we have. And I will try to find the 2010 minutes. Then there will be staffing. And essentially, so Stephanie is the staff from Yamhill County. Thank you, Stephanie, for stepping up, or at least being delegated. And then it will be myself, but if I happen to not be available, then it'll be one of my staff that would step in that particular role. The next on that list is talking about UGB amendments and the filing and the process when that would occur. And so this is a bunch of technical issue, but applications get submitted and received in different ways. In some situations, they are submitted to the county. In others, they are submitted to the city. And in other cases, they're submitted to both the city and the county. So we do coordinate on how that process does occur and will occur. I think for you, it gets down to that you will get you will see an application on your docket. And Stephanie and I will coordinate on the background side of this, of how those reports will get prepared and presented to you. The city has the obligation for doing noticing. And so that's kind of at a high level. There are either statutory or administrative rule requirements on noticing. So the county has their noticing requirements in the distance. The city has its noticing requirements in the distances and so forth. But in the end of all of that, the city of Newberg has the responsibility that we have to put notice in the public paper. And so that is our charge, and we will take care of that portion of it. We also, when we provide notice of your meetings for public hearings, I will share that information per the bylaws with the county. So Stephanie will get that information as well. The next piece in your bylaws generally is talking about your meetings and how they are conducted and held. And so we are following Oregon law. These are open public meetings. The public is here. I think we have one individual listening in tonight to this particular meeting. It's very prescriptive on talking about when your meetings will be held in the bylaws. And they talk about the 4th Tuesday of January, April, July, and October at 7:30 p.m. Well, we started tonight at 7. I didn't want you to all have to sit around and wait. There are requirements that for applications that may get filed either before the county and or the city or jointly, is that if we have not received an application, that we're supposed to notify you 45 days that we don't do or not going to hold one of those meetings on those months that have been identified in your bylaws. I think it's also important to note is that some things come off schedule, and some applications are either bound by revised statutes for the city and or the county, where we may need to not meet on the dates that are identified in the bylaws. It's just we have to meet those particular timelines. So we will coordinate with you on that. To have a quorum of this commission, you need 5. And so that's what's really important for those who have an alternate and you're not able to attend, is that you let your alternate know and that you let myself and or Stephanie know, so we can have that backfill, so we can ensure that we do have a quorum for a meeting. And then we get into the procedural stuff, and a lot of this is driven by Robert's Rules of Order as further refined in your bylaws. And so the chair is the presiding officer. And so we go through, we do the roll call, approval of minutes, a report out on the disposition of prior actions that this commission may have taken. And your actions are all actually recommendations. You do not make final decisions. You make recommendations to, and I will follow the kind of sequence that Ken Friday and I've talked through, is your recommendations would go to the city of Newberg, and the city council would review that. And then the city council's decision would be forwarded on to the county, and the county board of commissioners then would review that. So there is a sequence and a process to all of this. And then of course, after we do any particular hearings on any items, then there's adjournment of the meetings. The next piece on your particular order is following those procedures of commencements of hearing, abstentions, objections. Staff will provide a report. We will coordinate that with county staff on the presentation of those reports. Then you get proponents. You have the opportunity to question. I not necessarily don't like the word cross-examination. It sounds very legalistic, but there's the opportunity to ask questions of a proponent and asking questions of that. Then there's opponents, and then questions to opponents. Then there's the opportunity for public agency comments that will occur. Then there's the rebuttal evidence component, and then there's a staff recommendation. And then you move into your deliberation and ultimately to a vote. Your votes on items that are on the docket, other than like the procedural we did this evening, talking about election of a chair and a vice chair, needs to be a roll call vote. And so we will have Bobbie and or Sue will work that out before any particular meeting. We'll walk through all of that. And each member gets 1 vote. There's the issue in your bylaws regarding substantial financial interest on a docket item. And so it's always the thing to remember about ex parte contact bias. And so we will make sure that when we send out a packet to you that we have that listed on the agenda so that all of the commission members can adhere to the law. If you wish to abstain from a particular vote, it would be really related to a conflict of interest as listed out and written in your bylaws. The presiding officer shall vote. So the presiding officers, so in this case, our chair and our vice chair, you do get to vote on actions that come before this particular commission. And then there's always the issue and requirement for somebody to call for the vote. And so when that happens, then the chair will have to go through that particular process. Mentioned the issue about Robert's Rules of Order. So that's what we follow other than what is further described in your bylaws. And then here's the last piece, amendments to the bylaws. And so Stephanie and I had a conversation about this the other day. And I think if you were listening to some of my comments, there's some verbiage in this set of bylaws that are outdated, essentially. And in the bylaws, it talks about if we were proposing to amend the bylaws, we have to give the commission a minimum of 10 days notice. So one of the things that I would like to kind of put on the table is that we would like to propose some amendment to the bylaws and modernize them a little bit and bring them to 2021. And that would take some coordination between the city and county to be able to do that. And in that process, the bylaws would come back in front of this commission for your review, some comment, and then I would coordinate with the county staff in order to get that in front of both the city council and the Board of Commissioners. So that's kind of a quick recap on your bylaws. Any questions?
So essentially, Doug, it's looks like the dockets kind of follow the same format as like a quasi judicial hearing.
Yes, they do. So I think from all of the members that are present here, you've been through quasi judicial proceedings. The one that has not, more than likely, is Meryl, but I know she has watched council meetings when we've gone through those particular procedures, so she's not uncommon to them. Any other questions?
Is there a copy of the bylaws you can send out?
It was in the packet that we
No.
sent out.
It was.
Yes. So the agenda was sent out. We will send out agendas 1 week prior to your meetings. And in the packet that was sent out to you for this particular meeting, the bylaws were included.
The bylaws you're looking to change, just basically updating, no big.
I would call them a refresh.
Yeah.
Stephanie, would you agree potentially? It's refreshing some clarifications. When you do something in 1980 and it's 2021, the world changes a little bit. As I mentioned, for Meryl's seat, is that particular body we had back creating our comprehensive plan doesn't exist anymore, but they are a citizen representative. And so we just, little things like that need to be adjusted and tweaked. And that's something that the city of Newberg staff is willing to take on and draft up, and we would coordinate with the county staff. So they just have to review, so they don't have to create anything. I knew Stephanie would like that. So I've already had a conversation with our legal counsel about going through and creating an initial version of that we can share with the county before we would ever bring them back to this commission for your review and feedback.
Okay. Well, thank you, Doug. Looks like our next topic is the selection of a member at large. Do we have candidates, or do we need to propose candidates, or?
Well, that's what in the email that I had sent out. Well, on your agenda in the email that was, I sent out the agenda, attached to that was an email, is that we have this member at large position. And so in your bylaws, it says a member at large it should be chosen by the above NUMAC members and ratified by the city council and county board. This member shall reside either within the city of Newberg urban growth boundary or the city's area of influence. So the area of influence is 1 mile outside of our urban growth boundary. So what I would suggest, Mr. Chair, is, open it up and see if anybody has some nominations of an individual or individuals that might be able to fill that seat. Then there would be a discussion amongst the members based on those nominations. Again, somebody hopefully would call for a vote based upon the nomination or nominations. And you would take a vote, and then Stephanie and I would do our respective tasks to take that in front of the City Council and the Board of Commissioners to ratify it.
Okay, so I take it there's no list of current, anyone that's put their name forward to the city or anything like that?
No, there is not.
Okay, so this time let's go ahead and open it up. If anyone would like to propose a name, feel free.
Having not spoken to anybody, I'm nominating someone without their knowledge is going. Well, that's it. This is perfect then. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, I haven't
So I think that,
spoken to anyone either.
Is this something, Doug, that we have to do at this meeting? Because I know that reaching out to people and seeing if they're interested in trying to convey what this group is about when it's been sort of nebulous. It's like, how do you ask people to be involved in something that we haven't really gotten a real grasp on ourselves? Is this something we can wait to do till the next meeting or get some people lined up who might be interested?
We can, Commissioner. So you do have the opportunity now that we've opened up the discussion. I could say I would indicate that we could come back at an October 26th meeting. So that is the fourth Tuesday of October. And we could continue this discussion about a nomination of the member at large. Again, we would do this meeting at 7 p.m., a little counter to the bylaws of 7:30. But that is an option that you do have. And that would give you all some time to consider it, think about it, have some conversations with people and see if they would be interested.
And I would think if we did continue, we would want to have it in one meeting. I would think where we could bring the person on board and have them up and ready to be part of that meeting as well, right?
Well, so your process.
Oh, they
is
have to
that-
go before city council. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And the Board of Commissioners. So what I can suggest to all of you is that you consider it, have conversations with people who you think might be interested. If you have names, if you could send me their names and their contact information in advance, it would be very helpful. That way I can share that with Stephanie. And then we could come on October 26th and you can have a discussion about that. And you could invite those that you have talked to actually attend the meeting and listen to the conversation. And if this commission chose to want to talk with any of those potential members, then we can have Sue promote them up and you can have a dialogue with them.
I would move to table the discussion for an alternate or a seventh member, whatever you want to call it, until the October 26th meeting, 7 o'clock, hopefully in a real place instead of on Zoom.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to table and we have a second on moving the consideration for the member at large to the October 26th, 7 p.m. meeting. And can we go ahead and get a roll call vote?
Oh, yes, hold on. Rick Rogers, Mayor Rogers,
Yes.
Mary Starrett,
Aye.
Jeff Musall,
Yes.
Alan Halstead,
Yes,
Kit Johnston,
Yes.
Merrill Kunkel.
Uncle, yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. And the motion to table passes. So we'll take that up again on October 26th. And moving on in the agenda, the next thing we show are items from staff and then next meeting. So are we discussing the meeting time or where we will be? I'll let you take that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So based upon our discussion, our next meeting will be October 26th, which is a Tuesday. And we'll do that at 7 p.m. So we will get an agenda out to you a week in advance of that particular meeting. Depending on how things progress, we might even bring back some amendments to the bylaws for you to consider. It all depends. I'm going to be out of town for a while in September, so we will work diligently to try to bring that forward and coordinate with Stephanie on that as well. I guess my last piece is that, are there any questions from the members? I mean, this is kind of unique. You haven't met for a decade.
When we have the agenda, just a quick question. When we have the agenda, I'm assuming there'll be a list of the names of nominees that everybody comes up with so we can have a few days to go through it.
That's my hope. So again, if you have somebody you want to consider, if you can send me an email with their name, an email, and a phone number, that would be very helpful. So I can put that in your packet for your October meeting.
Sounds good. Yeah, that'll give us some time to think about some people and reach out to them versus a cold vote. So, hey, anything else from any of the commissioners?
So now this may be an impossible question, Doug, but if we are going out soliciting would-be commissioners, any idea of time commitment?
Well, it won't be like it has been over the last decade. That's some things that are for sure. So we do have an application that has been submitted for an urban reserve expansion. I can say that the Newberg City Council at a recent meeting has identified and directed staff to initiate an urban growth boundary expansion. So there are some steps that the City of Newberg staff has to take first, which is to incorporate our housing needs analysis, our economic opportunities analysis, and our public, semi-public land analysis into our comprehensive plan. So I will start that work in October. And so I got to go through those steps first before we actually kind of formally notify the Department of Land Conservation and Development that we're initiating a UGB expansion. So, you know, I can say maybe over the next 6 months, you may have 2 or 3 meetings. Then you may have a hiatus for a while as we work through our UGB stuff. But my intention is that as the City of Newberg works through the UGB stuff, is that we do have some briefings with NUMAC about where we're at in that process. So I don't like to hit my boards and commissions with information cold. I like to keep you up to speed of where we're at as we go through processes, especially lengthy processes for UGB expansions, so that you are informed before you get kind of the final report. So that's about as clear as I can be, Rick.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to bring up? No. Well, I'd like to add that it sounds like it'll be some interesting times, not too much of a work commitment that we aren't able to do it, but still able to do some things to help our community and county deal with growth in the coming years. So it shall be interesting. Anyone else? Our next on our agenda then is adjournment. We'll call this meeting short and sweet and over. So this time I'd like to adjourn the August 11th, 2021 meeting of the NUMAC Commission. Everyone have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.